Alright, for the BSG simulation, we're company B-Mart, team number 2. I'm Garrett.
I'm Tim.
I'm Jack.
So the first thing we're going to discuss is our performance summary, which is listed on the graphs on the screen. If you look at the graphs, the trends in our company's performance regarding the stock price, earnings per share, return on equity, and image rating are all displayed on the screen. And the majority of our performance trackers, they all decreased in speaking generally throughout our company's timeline. The stock price of our company started relatively high compared to other companies that also participated in the simulation. We registered with the third highest stock price in year 11 at $64.47. Our stock price peaked in year 14 at $65.12, but then decreased throughout the rest of the years. Earnings per share was one tracker that continued to rise throughout each period. It started at $3.66 and increased to a maximum of $4.64, which we were proud of. It is important to note that our company always produced positive earnings per share. On the other hand, our company's return on equity continually decreased throughout the history of our company, although returns were always positive. Compared to other companies, we had the third highest return on equity to start, but as the years went on, we fell off the table. Our image rating was another component that generally decreased over time. Even though we started first in this department, our image rating slowly decreased over time and we finished in the middle of the pack. On a positive note, our credit rating was superior over the years and never dropped below an A. After analyzing the data on the screen, one can determine that our company started out on generally the right foot, and our strategy kind of hung in there, but we pretty much stayed the same throughout the rest of the years as a company. So our competitive strategy, our main strategy that we started with and pretty much stayed with the whole time was global differentiation. During the early stages of our company development, it was agreed upon that we would have a global differentiation strategy. We wanted to stand out and differ ourselves from other companies by focusing and offering things that they did not. Our main focus was to provide the best quality product. That was like our main emphasis. And we also wanted to produce consistent positive returns for our investors. We wanted to make a product that would please our customers, which is why quality was so important to us. In order to implement our global differentiation strategy, we decided to focus on having a high S&Q rating, which we did succeed throughout the course of our company. We believed that focusing on these two components would separate us and differentiate from competitors. We also handled each individual channel of our business a little bit differently. For the branded sector, we wanted to have a high S&Q rating and increase our retailer demand. We thought that if we could have the attention of more realtors, then more of our product would be sold and dispersed across countries. Our company has the quickest delivery time out of all the other teams, which is really important. And we decided that it would be important to spend lots of money on advertising and celebrity appeal. We wanted to have a big portion of the internet market, and we accomplished this by having the third highest share of all the internet markets. We believe that this is due to our high advertising and celebrity appeal. As we learned in the course, relating it back to the course, global differentiation strategy is when a company offers unique product that a wide range of consumers find appealing, and I think that we implement that strategy pretty well throughout our time as a company. We thought there were many different ways to make our company and product different from other companies, which is why I believe this strategy would be appropriate. We also saw an opportunity that other companies wouldn't take this strategy, and we thought that that was pretty beneficial for us. As stated earlier, not only was producing a high quality product important to us, but we wanted to be consistent and provide positive returns to investors. And as I mentioned in the graphs before, we generally did decrease in most of the categories, but that was compared to other companies, but we were pretty flatline and produced the same results over the years, which we thought was pretty good. And yeah, that was our competitive strategy.
Now on to our international strategy. When we first sat down and discussed international strategy, we found it hard to decide what would be the best way to handle the separate regions offered by the simulation. After several discussions, we determined that we thought it was necessary to treat each region the same. Therefore, we followed the global strategies approach. We believed that pursuing the same competitive strategy theme of global differentiation in each region The idea of acting consistently on the global scale seemed to be a no-doubter to us. Though we did understand that every region does have its differences, if we attacked each market the same way, we could adapt and make changes. As you see up here, we said that our international strategy would be a global strategy, and that's a think global, act global approach. We did not randomly choose the global strategy approach. There were several reasons why we thought it was necessary. For one, we did not know how each region would react to our competitive strategy, and we believed that the best way to combat this would be to initiate the same strategy to all the markets. Although we hoped that no significant changes would be necessary, we knew that we could adapt and pursue new international strategy. Regardless, we were confident that using a global strategy approach would boost B-Mart's brand name and image. The use of the same strategies in several different regions would help us gradually build the reputation of the company up throughout the world. To us, this consistency and gradual growth is essential to succeeding in the long run. Overall, we initially wanted to be seen as a global powerhouse, and we knew that it would take time and implementation in several regions to achieve this goal. But as the simulation began, our international strategy did not necessarily go as planned. It needed modification to become as efficient as possible. After the global strategy approach didn't work, B-Mart had to shift its approach to a hybrid strategy. This approach is seen as a think global, act local approach. And after our global approach failed, we believe that this could possibly be what is a necessary international strategy plan for B-Mart. After failure, we soon found out that modifying each region is essential to success. We realized that we must accommodate to specific markets, match competition and demand in order to succeed. We first focused on modifying North America and Asia Pacific plans. Given that these two regions were our biggest markets, we had to attack them differently and put more emphasis on our approach and execution. Looking back, we should have prioritized these regions from the start, given that their impact would be huge in how B-Mart performed as a business. Now on to our strategy implementation. First, we have production. At B-Mart, we were constantly working to optimize production and become the most efficient business that we could possibly be. Though we invested in employees, which will be described in greater detail later in the presentation, one main focus that we had was our S&Q rating. We wanted to produce the highest quality shoes and sell them for a reasonably low cost. We understand that consumers want quality footwear, and not only will it increase our brand name, it will add more value to each item that the consumer is purchasing. Along with seeking the highest quality shoe, we tried to use as much capacity as possible. Though looking back at it, we believe that B-Mart would have had more success with an investment in capacity earlier on. Now on to workforce compensation. One thing that we strived to get right at B-Mart was workforce compensation. Coming into the simulation, we knew that the importance of treating employees justly and utilizing incentives to reach the best labor and production possible. With this being said, we increased employee base wages 1% each year to ensure employee satisfaction. In addition, we implemented incentive pay, a way of rewarding employees of meeting goals and helping the business produce shoes in a quantity and quality that we intended it to. All in all, at B-Mart, we want to recognize and reward employees. They are a huge factor to the success of a business, and they deserve to be compensated in that manner and feel appreciated. Lastly, we have finance, and the strategies that we used for that was that B-Mart strategized our finances a little bit differently. We put an emphasis on credit rating, and we tried to promptly pay back our loans to achieve this rating for future endeavors. Also, we didn't issue dividends to shareholders strictly because we believed that we were bringing value to them by continuously increasing earnings per share throughout the simulation. One big financial leap that we took was taking a loan to upgrade the North America and Asia Pacific equipment to improve our S&Q rating. This worked well, and looking back, we wish we would have used our higher credit rating to have taken more loans to grow our business. This would be a very necessary change for us if we move forward in the simulation.
So our proposed strategy for the next two periods is similar to what we have done in the past periods. However, we would make a few tweaks to our strategy. We've had some success in the decisions that we have made in the past periods, and we ultimately want to keep growing as a global company. We want to keep the high quality product for a great price while also producing consistent positive returns for our investors. Over the course of the past couple periods, our numbers have declined, which is why we need to make some small changes. Our current projections for year 18 are aligned with what we want to do as a company. Earnings per share will be around $6.08. Return on equity is projected around 13%, which is a little lower than we want, but still we're able to increase that from previous period. We're also projected to increase both net profit and net revenues in the future years. One thing we would change and do differently is we would increase our celebrity appeal for the first couple of years. In our company analysis, we saw that when we had a greater celebrity appeal, our sales increased, particularly in our online sales. Another thing that we would do differently is that we would expand globally. We had our plants in North America and Asia Pacific regions. And by only having these two plants, it really decreased our ability to grow the company globally. We should have used some cash on hand or taken a short-term loan in order to build our production capacity in the different regions. With that being said, we think that expanding globally would have positive effects and outcomes. We would want to continue to spend money on advertising in the new locations and on celebrity endorsements. The financial targets that we want to achieve are the same targets that we originally started with. We want our return on equity to increase to the same percentage that we started with, which was around 20%. Our stock prices also decreased from our original price, and we want to set a target goal to increase that each year in the following periods. Our last financial target that we want to achieve is to keep increasing earnings per share year after year. We believe that our changes in our strategic plan will help us achieve these goals and turn around our following numbers in the past couple of periods.
Thank you for listening to our presentation about B-Mart.